Welcome to the Great Social Experiment. Over 100 Minecraft players were split into 4 teams, each with their own unique abilities and land. They were then forced to compete for a $100 prize. The Berserkers, red team, found home to a deserted village. The Hydras, blue team, a beachside paradise. The Dwarfs, a desolate mountain range. And the Elves, a forested haven. Players were given no rules, only one life each. Corruption, lies, betrayal. The rest of the story was completely up to them in a wild adventure you don't want to miss. I present to you... Before we start this journey, one thing I want to mention is that this video is greatly inspired by Ish13C, Magic Gum, and Aya's name. Like and subscribe if you want to participate in these future events, it would truly mean the world to me. And without further ado, let's get into it. Day 1 started out how you might expect. Most players explored, trying to get themselves familiarized with the area, all while gathering the items they needed to progress in the game. However, unlike most teams, Hydra team seems to be by far the most coordinated and immediately addressed their biggest issue.
Why are we here?
Bro, put some pants on.
Yeah, they'll do fine. They'll do just fine. For the rest of the day, they continue to farm and gather items and then settle down. Now heading over to the Dwarves area, life was usual. The only thing interesting that happened was the Great Chicken Fiasco. There were very few animals on the map, meaning it was crucial for teams to breed them so they'd have a steady source of food.
If someone kills any type of animal, actually kill him.
Obviously not everyone listened to this message and ended up getting a few members of Yellow Team killed as they started murdering chickens. Eventually they calmed down and decided to set up camp near a river. Over on the Elf side, not much had happened. Members worked together in harmony to build farms and progress throughout the game. Well, except for this dude who somehow got himself struck by lightning. On the Berserker side, things were a lot different. Within the first 20 minutes of the server being up, like 3 members had died. People decided to go and rebel against the others and just kind of murder everyone until they decided there was only going to be one ruler.
I'm pretty sure red team might be screwed if we keep on following the orders.
Yeah, I know. We literally just lost 3 people.
Well, are you sure they are orders or they're just like wanting stuff?
Eventually, the Berserkers seemed to calm down and finally listen to reason. And with that, day 1 had officially ended. This was a very important day as many things were happening. First off, elections. By the end of day 2, each team would elect a ruler to lead them, and that ruler would receive a very powerful helmet that had 2 functions. It could be worn, and it gave you Prot 6 and 20 extra hearts. Or, at any time the king was still in possession with it, the king could decide to sacrifice the crown and revive 2 members of their choice from their team in that exact instant. There were no rules on how they had to choose a leader, but each team needed to have one by the end of the day, or risk losing out. Currently, there were borders surrounding each team that prevented them from leaving their designated area. However, at the beginning of day 3, they would drop. With this fact looming in the distance, tensions between teams continued to rise till they reached an all-time high. Due to blue having a player majority and them being well stocked, green and red decided that their biggest enemy was blue teams. They decided to create an alliance. The alliance they created was called the Soviets. Along with that, yellow created an alliance with blue to help defeat red and green, as red and green had the best bonuses, with green having resistance and red having strength. Somehow, in there as well, yellow was also able to create an alliance with the red team, even though they had already teamed up with blue to kill red. So I'm as lost as you are as why they did that. But yellow team is now teamed with both red and blue, so that's a thing. There's also a supply drop happening in each of the team's areas. The supply drop contained Sharp 4 books, Prot 4 books, and other goodies such as diamonds and iron. However, it was heavily guarded by mobs such as Ravengers and 8+ Pillagers. This was a very important drop and each team needed to go out and get it. Over by the Elves area, they began a construction project. They built themselves a sky base just to prove they were taller than everyone else and potentially outlive them if it came to it. However, this did not have the intended effect that they wanted to because the Dwarves found this gesture extremely offensive, so they decided to build a sky base. Only the Dwarves' sky base was just slightly taller, just to prove how they were better and definitely not self-conscious of their height. Over on the Berserker side, they finally stopped murdering each other and decided to do something productive for once. They built an election stadium for all future diplomatic purposes, all while progressing and becoming continuously more and more stacked, getting ready to go and murder the Hydras. Speaking of the Hydras, they were doing a lot of work on day 2. They was able to create their own form of government, which they called the UBSD, or the United Blue Socialist Republic. In this government form, they had groups of people doing each task needed. There's people for scouting parties to go loot supply drops, there's people for mining, there's people for organization, and there's people for fishing. Which it might not have worked out how they had planned, but it was better than any other system the teams had implemented before. By the end of day 2, it was time for each team to announce the leader they had chosen. Somehow, no one died in the conflict of choosing their leader, which honestly surprised me. Red team chose a user by the name of Sissard to receive the crown, Yellow team chose a leader by the name of Storm Katsu, Blue team chose a user by the name of Omulti, and Green team chose a leader of Pilot201_YouTube. Of the 4 teams to receive the crown, Red team and Yellow team decided to revive, while Green and Blue team decided to keep the crowns. Red team revived 2 members by the name of Mystic and Lask and Some Guys, while Yellow team revived Ducky Uwu and the Better Cat. And with that, day 2 had officially ended. Borders had now dropped and players were able to move freely. Almost immediately after the borders dropped, Green and Red began to plan on how to meet up and where. Somewhere with them, Blue and Yellow worked on uniting and began moving towards one another. However, their plan got interrupted by a rebel from Yellow by the name of Axper. Instead of going with the plan, Axper went off on his own into deep enemy lines. From there, Axper began to pick off Blues one by one in the mountainous ranges. After successfully murdering 3 Blues by himself, he started to play more aggressive and ventured further into Blue territory. However, at this point, Blue was fully alerted and sent out a hunting party of 7 members to hunt Axper down. The kill squad was patrolling along the water looking for him, and after a few minutes of searching, they found him.
Burnt ice today!
Oh, Axper is so dead. He's going to the water. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That's the worst. That's
the worst idea.
Come on and slap him. Slap. Yeah, let's go.
While attempting to escape, Axper was killed in combat. Meanwhile, another member of Yellow, by the name of Atar, was working on meeting up with Axper. While good intentioned at most, Atar was unable to get to Axper in time and found himself in the same situation as Axper. You need to go left, you need to go right, you need to go right, you need to go right. You just hit world bar. GG. Oh my god, wait, you hold up. Hold up. This is
not ideal.
I
This
mean,
is not ideal.
they're not hitting
This is
you.
not very superstar of
They're
the
just
suckers.
following you.
Let him talk. They said let him. Okay.
Go. Atar was able to convince Blue to let him talk and potentially save his life.
So, what's going on?
Okay, but my offer is I really didn't want to like fight you guys. Axper was kind of like a rogue. I was trying to find him and hunt him down. I was trying to hunt him down, but I couldn't.
Didn't want to go with our sky-based strategy.
I couldn't find him though.
So what's the idea here?
So I was
We
just
want to
trying
take down Red.
Yeah,
wanna
same
kill Red?
because yeah. Do you guys need food or blocks?
We need food desperately.
I'll take some blocks. I only have 10 cobbles.
Okay, here.
I need a diamond sword.
And just like that, Atar was able to save his life by bargaining with Blue to kill Red Team and join their alliance. Because of Axper's death and Atar switching side, Yellow Team was now very weak. They had 3 times less members than any other team alive at the time. So, they created a plan. Because of their unique ability, which was haste, they were able to win almost any underground situation and flee to the underground if needed. In preparation for all-out war, they began to build a bunker they could hide in while the storm passed. Due to the Yellow Rebel incident, Green and Red delayed when they'd meet up for fear of betrayal from one another. Red stayed at the village and continued to progress, while Green continued to farm and advance throughout the game. With that, Day 3 had ended and the server closed. Day 4. I was doing a unique event called The Hunt. Players would have to hunt me down, and if they killed me, they got a bunch of good items, including a brewing stand and potions. Currently, there was no other way to get potions inside the server because the nether has been disabled. Now, obviously, I'd be hard to kill because I had speed 3 and Dolphin's Grace. And every team saw value, so they met me at 0-0 to begin the hunt.
Good with that. Pervert, let me kill you. I'm right here.
Nah.
Oh, let me kill you.
Stop running.
Oh,
Stop.
hi,
It's
a lot of green people.
Oh, and there's like 10 greens,
Morphing, you're
10
low,
greens.
morphing, you're
Multi,
low.
run. Literally sprint.
Holy
Sprint
shit.
away. No, Multi, get out. You're gonna. Okay, Multi is basically screwed. Wait, I got him. Okay, I'm right behind him. He pearled. He's right behind. He's on him. We need help. I crit him twice.
Oh, no, you
They have
killed Red.
strength.
Let's
They have
go.
strength. I need help.
Murder's always fun.
I covered the hole.
Yeah, we gotta kill.
He's breaking another hole, bro. The better cat. We need help. Can you? Shardify just got killed.
Shard's dead.
Nice.
Oh, you're fine.
I get the crown and then I do.
His X. I got his shield.
What happened?
No,
Gapping?
no! Ah, damn, I died. However, after my death, that was not the end. The teams continued to fight for the next 20 minutes, leading to a bloodbath and casualties from all sides. Immediately after, teams got split up and were forced to regroup while being hunted down. In this, Blue's King Old Multi got hunted down by 2 other green members and their king pilot.
This is why we needed cobwebs. This is why we needed cobwebs.
Give me.
However, while chasing Old Multi, they chased him into water, where he was met up by multiple members of Blue Team, and now it was Green who was on the run from Blue.
I'm getting caught by different things. I'm so dead.
I mean, nothing.
I managed to get away more or less.
I'm gonna die. They're chasing me.
No.
Just spam pro, spam pro,
I'm just
spam
gonna
pro.
wait. I'm just gonna wait until there's no blues in that ocean area.
Pilot was able to escape the Blues, but that was not the end. Skirmishes continued to break out through the rest of the day as teams got separated, leading to a few more casualties on each side. However, during the midst of this, Red began to implement a plan. While most members of Red Team were mining or fighting, a user by the name of Some Guys was busy creating an army. But not your everyday army. No. A dog army. From day 1, he'd be constantly breeding dogs for the fight. Now they proved to be crucial to his survival. Meanwhile, Green took advantage of their player majority over Yellow and decided to raid Yellow's base of all supplies. Luckily for Yellow, they saw this coming and they fled into the underground base. After demolishing Yellow's base, Green turned to meet up with Red at the center of the map. At the end of day 4, each team finally retreated back to their own area to count the casualties, and the day ended. Teams were exhausted from fighting on the previous day, so they all went back to their base to prepare for the next encounter and restock. Currently, the Soviets had the player majority and the best combat buffs, making them enemy number 1. Yellow Team had 3 players alive on their team, and due to their incredibly small numbers, I let them revive. Somehow, they were able to get their hands on an enchanted god apple from a chest, so I let them trade that in for a revive of any one person. They chose to revive Axper, the yellow rebel who went on a killing spree the previous days. He had proved to be a great PvPer and was potentially Yellow's last hope to be back in this fight. And this would be one of the most deciding factors throughout the game. Skirmishes ensued throughout the day. Blue Team would come up and occasionally pick off a member or 2 just to run back into the water and be untouchable by the Green and Reds. This continued for a very long time until eventually Blue played too cocky and got stranded on land. Green used the trick and was able to spleef and get 3 members of Blue Team to fall to their deaths. However, along with this death, 3 o'clock, a member from Blue, was able to kill Green King's pilot and destroy the crown, meaning Green Team no longer had a totem to revive. Although outnumbered, Blue did still have one thing going for them. They had the crown, and it was time to sack this crown. Old Multi chose to revive 2 members from their team, one by the name of Emorphing, and the other was the yellow trader Atar, who had died earlier. It seems like Atar's peace deal had saved his life not once, but twice, saving him from Blue's wrath and having Blue revive him over their own teammates. However, at the end of the day, the Soviets ended up having the most power by a long shot, and it would take a miracle to defeat them. Luckily, Yellow had a plan. While the rest of the teams were fighting, they would be stocking up on a few resources, including dyes and materials to craft a multi-shot crossbow. They were going to be shooting firework rockets from a multi-shot crossbow, hoping to break down their armor and then retreat into the underground. However, they still needed a bunch more materials, so they continued to farm for the rest of the day. And then, day 5 ended. Day 6. It had become a stalemate where Blue would run up and attack and then run back into the water, and nothing was really progressing. So I decided to give each team items they needed to help move the game forward. To the Soviets, I gave them 7 Depth Strider 2 books, in addition with 5 Respiration 5, and 3 Protection 4 books. Hopefully this would help them counter Blue, making them more versatile in the water. To Blue, I gave 3 of each of the following potions: Strength 2, Speed 2, Regen 2, and Invis. This would hopefully help them more in land, in combat Red and Green's abilities of strength and resistance, and be able to fight on land more. And to Yellow, I gave them a maxed enchanting table with 5 stacks of bottles of experience. Yellow was not very stacked, they had iron, maybe diamond armor at best, with no enchants, and considering their low player count, they needed something big to help them progress, and that was it. With their new items, Blue decided it was time to try their luck again against the Soviets and potentially pick up a few members while staying alive with their potions to help them if they needed. They engaged in skirmishes for about 15 minutes, however it did not go well for them. Each time one member of Blue got sold out and murdered.
Ramp. Okay. This guy's murdering me. Okay, I'm doomed. Let's go, I'm dead. Let's go, I'm
They
dead.
do have Depth Strider, right?
And I'm dead.
Morphing. Don't die. Oh no.
He's got speed though.
Oh, it's over.
Good.
The vein of blue is ended.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, he's good. He's nice. Wait, let me loot.
And eventually, after 15 minutes of fighting, the only Blue to make it out alive was Old Multi. Stranded and alone, Blue's only hope was to ally with Yellow and somehow pull off a miracle. Meanwhile, Yellow was proceeding to become incredibly stacked. All the remaining Yellows had Prot 4 diamond armor with some other good items. Over on the Soviets, they were having a jolly old time. They had all but neutralized their enemy and it was now a 9v4, greatly in their advantage with the potion effects and everything. However, seeing the game draw near, tensions rose. Red and Green knew that eventually they'd have to fight each other and there could only be one winner. And currently, Green had a massive player advantage, occupying 6 of the 9 player slots in the Soviets, leading to increased tensions. The Allies, Blue and Yellow, tried with some success picking off stragglers within the Soviets and managed to kill 1 or 2 members, with the rest escaping unharmed. Each team prepared for the final battle they knew would be coming very shortly, and the border slowly began to shrink down to 0-0, which ended day 6. Day 7. The final day was approaching as the border shrunk and teams got closer and closer together. The Allies began to brew potions while consistently moving around trying to avoid the Soviets. During this, a member from the Soviets ran off too far and got cornered and killed by the Allies.
Oh, okay, that's why. Because earlier when I died...
Oh, but you have a horse, it doesn't matter.
Oh, there was 2 green guys.
Let's go! You're trash.
However, this is part of the plan, as a member from Green by the name of General was able to steal the brewing stand in Netherward, evening it out so both teams had potions. Fights continued where many members of the Soviets would hunt down Axper, and Axper would have to find himself in 3v1s consistently.
On me. Clear the weather, please, bro.
Wait, don't. They might have fire aspect on us.
I have fire aspect.
Oh, true.
Somehow, through his skill and strong gear, he was able to survive every single 1v3 or 4v1 he faced. While Oxspur was being chased, the remainder of Yellow moved underneath 0-0 instead of a final base camp, while Omulti, the leader of Blue and the last one alive, fled into the sky. However, there was a flaw with Omulti's plan. He burned his trail that he built up so no one could find him. However, he also burnt the platform he was standing on, causing him to fall to his death. And with Omulti's last breath, Blue Team was finally eliminated. From the global superpower destroying everyone they faced to now being the first team eliminated. With Omulti's death, the remaining allies fled underground, and from there they worked on meeting up. However, Green would not stop harassing Axper and caused him to use his God Apple in order to survive. And with that, Day 7 ended with the borders being 10 by 10 and teams being forced to fight in the final day. With the borders being incredibly close, the only way this could end was a fight to the death. Currently, the Soviets had 5 members, with 3 of them being green and 2 of them from red. Yellow had an additional 3 members on their team, making it a 5v3. To start off, Yellow tunneled underground with the red and green skybasing in separate areas. And then, the first incident happened. The Red King Scissored fell from his skybase. From there, Green saw their advantage and collapsed on Yellow from the sky. Fights ensued for the next 3 minutes, and with success, General was able to kill 2 members of Yellow.
Oh,
I'm
he's
dead.
coming down, some guys.
I'm dead.
Bro.
Some guys is really lucky with this fucking lava.
Yeah, how is he not dead yet? He's
He has fire resistance.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Ader's dead.
Seeing this situation, some guys in Axper created a hasty alliance against Green with the hopes of winning.
Stay here. Can I stay to just spectate?
Some guys, you gotta team with Yellow.
While each fled into their respective areas. Red went into his lava base because he had fire resistance and was virtually immune from all the teams, and Axper fled underground as he had haste and could escape. Some guys in Axper had success at first, killing 1 member of Green.
What's happening right now?
You can eat. They're not on me.
Well, what do you mean they're not on you?
Oh wait.
You guys see that?
Oh, Den. Oh my god.
Denchi's man is gone.
However, this victory was very short-lived, as soon after some guys got cornered, and when his armor broke, General took advantage of the situation and slaughtered some guys.
Goodbye.
Oh.
I tried.
Now it was only Axper versus 2 Greens. He fled underground, however Green was in hot pursuit.
Axper could win. If he plays his card right.
Robark, you should put more creepers down.
Axper.
GG! With Axper's last breath, General and 5-3 Ato had successfully won this competition. Both have been prominent members throughout the game, with General killing over 1/8 the lobby by himself. From start to finish, each team proved their worth, changing the course of the game in unexpected ways. However, in the end, Green was the only team to stand the test of time. Maybe next time you will get to make the difference.